Looking to find collectible figures at low cost with superior customer service? Fanboy Collectibles is one of the largest retailers of high-end collectibles on the east coast of the USA. Carrying a full array of Hot Toys, Enter-based Sideshow Collectibles 3A and all the top manufacturers. Domestic and international packages shipped daily, all fully insured with tracking number and securely packed. Getting it to you as quickly is important, but not as important as your collectibles arriving in pristine condition. Are you looking to pre-order an item to guarantee you don't miss it when it's released? Well, Fanboy Collectibles does that too. If you got a question about an item, give them a call, shoot them an email, or even leave them a message on their Facebook page. Fanboy Collectibles is available full-time to respond to you and to get your items to you as quickly as possible. Anyone can make a sale. Fanboy Collectibles knows the key to being successful is repeat customers. That comes from doing the right thing by you and making customer services their priority. Fanboy Collectibles. For some it's a hobby, to them it's an obsession. Hello to you and welcome to episode 22 of the Hottoycast, the graduated from college and freaking out about life episode of our most esteemed podcast, where we discuss all things high-end action figures from the likes of Hot Toys, Sideshow, and many more. Now, my name is Eamon O'Donoghue. These are my co-hosts.
Michael Crawford.
And Jeff Parker.
We knew you were there, Jeff.
He's still on the road. He's still on the road. Okay.
Oh, was I meant to go second? Sorry.
Yes. It's there, look, it's there. Like, I've put in big red text on the synopsis. Anyway, on today's episode, we hope we're going to get around to a couple of figures. Now, the two boys are expecting a nice, big, lovely box of goodies, so we'll have far more kind of Hot Toy reviews in the next episode. This episode, we're going to try and get through Marty McFly, Hot Toys Marty McFly, Hot Toys Whiplash, War Machine Mark II. We're then going to maybe jump into ACI Aragorn, Thracian General, Star Ace's Sirius Black, and 3A's Ned Stark, and we're going to give an honourable mention as well to a statue Catwoman, because our Trevor Grove was on there. He sculpted that one, so we're going to discuss that in length as well. So, let us kick this off, and I watched it last night. Ali, my girlfriend, had not seen Back to the Future since she was a little girl, so we put on, and I was waiting to buy the box set until my figure came, for Marty McFly. So we put on Back to the Future one last night in Blu-ray, and I'd never seen it in Blu-ray. You know, and I watched the deleted scenes and everything, and it was like, there's a really funny deleted scene where Doc back in the 1950s picks up a modern-day Playboy. And I was like, oh, things do get better in the future. It was great. But yes, Marty McFly. So, Jeff, or Mike rather, would you like to kick us off with Marty McFly? I've got my Marty here. He's got a skateboard.
Oh, sure. He's sweet. He's so nostalgic, you know,
yeah.
And it's so nice to get something from Hot Toys that isn't Iron Man or Avengers.
Yeah.
You know, and get something that they really put a lot of time and effort into. It's clear, you know. What I like about this figure is that he's got a ton of extras, right? There's a ton of accessories, but all of those accessories he's got, you see probably within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Absolutely.
There's nothing here from later on in the movie. Even the guitar, which is the exclusive version, is when he goes to the high school to do the demo, and that's not the guitar from later on, which makes sense because it's not the suit outfit from later on. You know, you don't want to put him, you know. So what I'm hoping is that this was intentional on Hot Toys' part to allow them to have a second version in the 50s later in the film and add a bunch more, accessories from later in the film to add in with it. So I'm hoping that's a little insight into, maybe they've got plans that this guy does well, that they can bring out a second Marty along with at least a couple of Docs, God forbid.
Yeah, I'd love a 21st century Doc. That'd be great with the big reflector glass shades and stuff like that, and the big kind of neon outfit and things. I'd quite like that. But do you think they would release a 1950s Marty?
I sure hope so. I think that they've set themselves up for it, right? They've allowed themselves to keep all of the cool accessories from later in the film, and the outfit's just as cool, right? I mean, it's just it's not quite as iconic as the red vest, which we all remember so well.
Life preserver.
He only wore it for a little while. Yeah, his life preserver. But he wore it longer in the movie. So
this is true.
Yeah. I think it's like, they've obviously shown a lot of commitment by the very fact they're planning the DeLorean as long as it comes off. So they're very committed to this. And I know the fanboys have been wanting this for so long. But at the same time, as you say, I think they're testing the water. Let's see if it sells as well as everybody's expected, because it's there is so much they can do with this whole line and the other movies. So just hope it sells as well as we
I do think the sculpt could be a little better. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's. I like that they gave him an expression instead of going with that kind of slack mannequin look. I think he's. You know, I've seen people say, "Oh, he looks dead." No, he doesn't look dead. That's look at some of the other figures like the Tonto, the Johnny Depp Tonto, or the Johnny Depp Ichabod Crane. Those are dead looks.
Yeah,
they look
they're
like
lifeless looking figures. This has got emotion.
This has a little expression to it. There's a little life in the eyes, life in the tautness of the muscles in the face. He looks like he's perplexed, which he was most of that movie. So I like that fact, but to me, this time it's actually some of the paintwork that actually hurts them a little, and that extreme texture. Because if you look at, like, you just watched the movie, Eamon, so he was very young, very young.
Oh, Michael J.
He was baby's face. Yeah. Michael J. Fox. This is not babyface Michael J. Fox. This has a lot of skin texture to it, and it has some variation in the skin tone, like you would when he's maybe another 5, 6, 7, 8 years older.
Yeah.
So I think that makes people look at it and they go, well, he doesn't look quite like. Well, no, not from that movie. I think he's.
I see what you're saying.
It's a little better maybe for the second or third movie, but still, it's in the outfit. It's clearly Marty McFly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like that thing where some figures I really like to have the extra articulation at the top of the neck, and some I'm not quite so bothered with. And this is actually one of those occasions where I think it's nice for him to be able to tip his head around, but because the neck is kind of quite visible, I almost wonder if it would have been nicer just to have had a whole sculpted neck on this one.
Yeah, you can see that top joint below the jawline pretty clearly in a lot of poses.
You can. That was actually the first thing I noticed out the box. I was like, oh, the neck joint seems a bit. I mean, it's a very easily moved head as well. If you shook the figure, you could move that head. So that kind of gives you something. So I was a little bit surprised at that. But I think like a lot of things you get sometimes, it's just kind of a case of kind of getting used. It surprised you, and then like once you get used to it, it's like it doesn't bother you at all anymore. So when I took it out of the box, two things that kind of bothered me straight away. I didn't like the paint on the inside of the mouth. Bearing in mind it was a bright daylight morning sunshine going in, so it was it was kind of apparent. You could see right into the mouth. But all in all, these figures are to look nice on your shelf and to give you that kind of iconic straight out of the movie feel. And I get that from this figure. I've got photographs on my, you can check on Facebook, on his skateboard, when he's looking at his watch. This is the expression. This is what Hot Toys do sometimes. They look at the most popular interpretation of the character and the most iconic interpretation of the character. And they did the same thing with Wolverine. The Wolverine sculpt is from that movie poster. That particular movie poster where he is pursing his lips together. This particular Michael J. Fox here is the Drew Struzan movie poster where he's looking a bit like stunned at the watch and it's like, holy, I'm running out of time here. It's that great pose.
He's got the sunglasses to go with it, even though he only used those in the very few seconds at the beginning. The sunglasses are really there for you to do the Drew Struzan poster when the DeLorean shows up.
Exactly.
Which is why it's all important that the head can tip down as well with that neck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice posable neck. I really like it. I like the fact that it's easy to pose. You can turn his head nicely. He put his headphones around his neck and stuff like that, and things, and I love that. There is someone actually doing some decals for these because obviously they couldn't use the Nike logo, they couldn't use the JDC logo or the AWA logo.
Right, they didn't go for all the licensing on all of that.
No, and on the skateboard as well, I believe there's a few stickers, but just like little attentions to detail, like the little stickers on his denim jacket. He's got a little guitar, he's got his plectrum, and he's got like some sort of a little badge and things there. Now, did you actually open up the clock tower flyer?
Yeah.
Did you look at the back?
Yeah.
I thought that was sweet.
Yeah.
And you know what?
It is.
I didn't look at it because I was watching the movie last night, and literally that scene came up. I literally plucked the because I have the camera and the newspaper in the backpack, as you do. I took the flyer out, and I was like, I opened it up, and I was like, I thought this was just I thought it was a newspaper. I forgot that it was a flyer, and I was like, oh, it's a flyer. So I decided to open it up and take it out, and then look at the back, and it's, oh, look, I love you, 5554823. It's just like,
yep.
I thought that was a wicked. I did not know that, and I thought that was just.
Now you just watched the movie. I heard somebody say that the flyer is actually blue.
No, it's not. No, the
I didn't think so. I thought it was white.
The flyer's white. The flyer's white.
Yeah.
It is just a plain old photocopied flyer, But it's just I was like so impressed to see that little note on the back there. I just thought that little attention to I was like, oh, that's just sweet. So it is.
Even the accessories, even though they lack some of the logos, like the camcorder, the detail in the buttons and the hash marks on the lens, and the fact that you've got the colored lenses at both the front and in the eyepiece, and these are the kind of accessories when Hot Toys is really hitting on all cylinders, right? This is when they're showing their best attention to detail.
The little Casio watch, the little beep beep beep, little Casio keyboard.
Yeah,
watch.
with this little, it had the little calculator on it, right?
Yeah, did you
A
gel
little
have one
section
of those?
below the watch.
Yeah, I remember I had one of those actually. I was
Oh, absolutely.
They used to do the Texaco giveaway collection. Do you remember that years ago? You saved up your stamps from the petrol, and you used to like try to persuade your dad, get this or get that, get a telescope, get this. And then eventually I did get a Casio calculator watch. I was the shiz back then, man. I'll tell you, it was great stuff. I love this figure. It's a true icon. I have this I have it in my little icon stand, so it's up there now with Alien Dallas, Luke Skywalker from Bespin, my Indiana Jones, and my Superman, and it just works. You know, Empire magazine has the latest Empire magazine, for instance, has like the 100 greatest movie characters, and it's like we have figures of those now, and it's like Marty's one of them, Darth Vader's the other, Loki's another. And it's like, whoa, look at these great movie characters, and I just think this is what it's all about with Marty, and it does look like we are going to get that DeLorean because we could. They've clearly bailed on the '69 Batmobile.
66, yeah, I think so.
66, sorry.
We'll talk a little bit about Comic-Con here in a little while, but
Right.
I think that'll be the telling point.
But I think we're definitely going to get the DeLorean.
Has Hot Toys ever put something up for actual pre-order where you could order it and not do it?
It is on pre-order. No, I
didn't think so.
That.
So I'm pretty sure if we have pre-ordered it's been 8, 9, 10 months since we pre-ordered the DeLorean. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while, but we were waiting ages for the Batmobile as well. Weren't we?
Yeah, but see, the Batmobile never went up for pre-order, so I think that with the DeLorean up for pre-order, we will get it. There will be no.
Right.
Yeah, they may not make the most money off it in the world,
No,
depending on how well it sells, but they'll make it.
The 89 Batmobile took ages to be kind of like for
Oh, yes,
pre-order
it did.
to
It took a
reach
long time.
Yeah, that took ages. So
Yeah.
but I mean, I'd love the DeLorean. I don't have room for DeLorean, so I won't be getting the DeLorean. One of the things I was going to mention about this Marty McFly figure is like I do wonder how well he is going to sell. You know, because some of these American movies are not big they're not big in that part in China where they make these figures. And I think Hot Toys, from what I understand, they do like to cater to the Eastern markets as well. And Marty McFly is not going to be as much of an icon over there. Like Star Wars, for instance, is not a big deal over there. So that's why some of the Star Wars stuff just doesn't sell that much over there.
Star Wars, I thought Star Wars was pretty huge in Asia.
That's what I've been told from dudes in Asia, that when they go down to like the Hot Toy secret bases, like there's not much interest with Star Wars over there. I mean, maybe wrong. That is only from one source, though, so maybe that could be entirely that could be wrong. But that's what I understand, and I would be very curious because the thing when it comes to figures, I always feel that I want the figures I wanted when I was a child. While I love Marty McFly and I love Back to the Future figures, I never really craved for a figure from these things because it's not like an action-y kind of a movie. So I'd be very curious to see how well this Marty McFly does sell, because already I'm kind of seeing, like you can still get Batman and Robin, for instance. And I thought, we kind of thought that they might sell through the roof, and they kind of haven't. And I just think some of the kind of older American US-based properties may not be as big as sellers as we think. I mean, I
think Marty, though, is a kind of figure that a lot of people, it's going to be one that does better word of mouth after now that it's available.
Right.
I think that it's not a figure that when you put it up for pre-order, it's not Darth Vader from Hot Toys. It's not,
It's not Han and Chewie.
Chewbacca, from Hot Toys, where everybody rushes out and they want to pre-order it right away because, oh my God, we've never gotten this before and it's the greatest license ever. Yeah. I think it's kind of that people probably looked at it and went, that's kind of cool, yeah, whatever. And then when it hit, and now so many of us are talking about that it's a really cool figure, and we're waxing nostalgic over the movie. Yeah. Now I think you may see that the numbers will pick up and it'll actually do a lot better in terms of sales. At least that's what I think will happen. It's not going to be some outstanding, figure
and
that
also, I wonder,
sells so well you'll never see, one on the shelf or something. But it should sell well.
Yeah, and this is it. And I think because there is a lot of nostalgia for this, it would have been pre-ordered by a lot of people, obviously, the hardcore fans. But then, obviously, I think a lot of companies, they design the numbers of figures they make around the pre-orders, and they kind of will obviously make a buffer zone around that so that the people who do come to the market later can buy it. And of course, they've always got the option of doing a second, pressing, as it were, of a figure. But when you think back to figures like, I'm going back to like Blade, and I think Blade was a popular movie, but not a huge movie. Yep. But that figure obviously just went mental. It was word of mouth, and it's a really cool figure. and all of a sudden everybody wanted it. And the price went crazy, and I think this, I think you're right, Mike. This could be a figure like that, and I wonder if they've made enough, and I wonder if that does happen, if that's going to really push the price up, and that's almost like they're designing their own market for the future on this. If they can kind of create a kind of a buzz around it.
Well, I for one would definitely pick up a futuristic Marty with the inflatable Nikes and the sun and the hat and the kind of reflective hat and the hoverboard. Yeah, the hoverboard. And if you get a little flight stand in for the hoverboard, there you go. That's what we're talking about. Ooh. But I think, but to be honest, if they don't make any more Back to the Future figures, I mean, I won't cry too much.
I really would like a Doc Brown to go with him.
Yeah, I think Doc's got to go with him.
In what
you got to have a Doc to go with him, but after that, I would buy anything they do, but it won't break my heart.
Yeah. Okay. I think Doc could be good. Maybe if you got Doc, that you could change him from his 1950s gear into his kind of his 21st century gear. Because I think the 21st century gear, because that was in the first movie, that is heavily featured in the second movie as well. So I think if you're going to go for a Doc, you'd probably pick 21st century Doc, as in futuristic.
Yeah.
Ooh, pour one for me. What's that?
You could always go with 21st century Doc clothes covered up by the radiation suit from.
See there, now we're cooking.
Yeah, now you've got one that can go with early Marty and later Marty.
Yeah.
I get in the extended scenes I was watching, or deleted scene last night. You know the part where Marty shows up and he puts the Van Halen cassette on George McFly's hair and head, and he's like, I am Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan, and there's like a whole extended bit to that, and it's really funny. Some of these deleted scenes are like really funny. Alright, so there's Marty McFly. I think we all would recommend this figure. Yeah?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Alright, cool. Marty McFly it is then. Okay, we're now going to move on to two figures that neither myself or Jeff have, so I'm going to load up your picks. Where is your Whiplash? Have you got pics of Whiplash?
Oh, Whiplash goes up tonight.
Oh, dude, I want Whiplash pictures.
Okay.
Let's just review Whiplash then. What do you think? Hot Toys. This is
Whiplash,
Hot Toys Whiplash.
This
from
is
Iron
a
Man
die-cast.
2. This is Hot Toys Whiplash from Iron Man 2. The Mark II version is in fully armored. I'm gonna catch the two boys with my whips. Type stuff.
And he's gonna kick ass with Iron Man and War Machine in the park. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So here we got. It seems like every possible version of an Iron Man figure's been done, right?
Well,
and they find a villain, they pull him out of their hat from Iron Man 2. This is a big figure. He's about 13 inches tall when he's standing upright, so he's got a little extra bulk. We're not talking, Igor bulk, but he's certainly bigger than what we've seen with most of the regular Iron Men. He's got some amazing articulation. There's all kinds of plates that are set up so that, like at the feet, the plates flip down over the feet and around the ankles. There's little springs on the spikes that go down into the ground, like it did in the movie, to give them all that stability. They articulated all of that. They didn't have to, but they articulated all that around the ankles. All of the plates around the waist, the shoulders, they all move up and out so that you can get deeper stances, greater mobility in the shoulders. It really is. And the amount of detail in all the little pistons and various mechanical pieces, it's really an exceptional sculpt. It really is. Now, the look of the Ivan Danko, the portrait.
Is it the same as the first one?
It's good. It's a good Mickey Rourke. I mean, I thought they did a great job with the first one. It's not a lot different than that, except it doesn't have hair because it's inside the helmet.
So it is the same face sculpt, is it?
But it's pretty much the same. I mean, it looks a little updated, but it's they did a great job the first time. So it works well. What I like about that, it's the same thing when we talk about here about War Machine in a minute. Having that second portrait, if you're not going to use the light up feature, which I know a lot of people don't. I mean, I wouldn't buy an Iron Man that doesn't light up. It's kind of critical to the character, especially if you're spending this kind of money. But it doesn't mean you use it all the time. And for people who are afraid of the batteries leaking over time and they don't want the batteries left in their figure, having the second head so you can pop this head on, pop the mask on, and then when somebody comes over and you show it to them, pop the mask off and say, "Hey, look, it's Ivan Danko," is a really nice feature for as an alternate to using the light up feature. So yeah, it's a really nice figure. He's a little light. He only comes with the battle damage chest piece. He comes with the extra head, and of course the whips with the little blue flame thingies that go along them.
Yep.
Now I did have.
Are they the same as the original? The whips, are they the same?
No, they're a little nicer whips. They're a little thicker. The blue flames are a little nicer. It's a little nicer than the original.
Okay.
However, one of the things about the light up features, it's supposed to light the whips up. Anybody who's worked with those kind of lights, like with the light up lightsabers, and it's not going to go very far down the plastic.
Right.
And it does. It only goes halfway down the hand or whatever where it's bright. But the nice thing is that the whips are fairly thick. You're not going to tear them or break them. They're pretty well made quality wise. I did have one quality problem with mine. It'll be mentioned in my review tonight.
Yeah.
The problem is there's actually two switches in back. One is for the chest and one is for the back. This is a figure that, if you remember, both on this version of the armor and when he just had the harness early in the movie, he had a couple sections in the back that lit up blue.
Yeah.
So they included that in this figure as well. However, it worked great for the first 2 seconds I had it, and then when I went to turn it off, the switch fell into the body.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, this is now I would expect this to be pretty much a one-off thing. This is the second time in all the dozens of light-up Hot Toys figures I've bought. This is only the second time I've ever had this happen. The other time was when we had that the light cycle with Flynn from Tron Legacy.
Oh yeah.
One of those light switches fell off into the body of the motorcycle, and Hot Toys replaced it right away. And I'm assuming this guy's not going to, at $400, this guy's not going to be flying off the shelves. So I should be able to get a replacement from them pretty easily. But still, it's worth noting that yeah, it is possible if you're messing around with those switches, one of them can pop off.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, that's a good note for people to.
But otherwise, it's again outstanding. The paint. Oh, the paint's gorgeous. It's because it's one of those figures where I mentioned this in the review. Tony Stark is a very glossy, high tech, show off. His armor represents that. Ivan is very Russian, very stoic, very utilitarian, and that suit shows it. The rivets, the welds, they're all obvious. They're not pretty. They're not sanded down. Yeah. This is a very utilitarian piece of armor, and I didn't really get that impression when I watched the movie because you only saw the armor so fast, and of course, action today in any movie means do it real quick and then nobody will notice.
Yep.
And yet, when I hold the figure, I can really get that between Iron Man and Danko's character. So yeah, it's a great figure. I'm real pleased with it. Now, you also mentioned War Machine 2, which is also the latest die cast. This is, again, a really nice, very well done figure. I don't know if I can really recommend spending the money, but you do get the second head sculpt this time, which you didn't get with the first War Machine diecast. Remember, the first diecast Hot Toys figure to hit, even though I don't think it was numbered number 1, was the War Machine.
Was it War Machine? Was it Patriot? Oh
yeah, War Machine. I think was numbered number 2, but I think he actually hit shelves first. And that one did not come with a second head sculpt. It didn't have the Rhodey head sculpt with it. This one has the Rhodey. I think I haven't compared minutely yet, but I think it's the same Rhodey head sculpt we got with the Patriot.
It looks like
but it's nice to have because now you can swap. Like I said before, if you're not using the light up feature, you can swap in the head, swap it out, show people, oh look, it's actually Rhodey under here.
Yeah, I really love the Rhodey head sculpt on this. It does look like it's the same one from the Iron Patriot.
It does look. I thought they might have tweaked it a little, but it's because it's always kind of hard to tell. But it does look the same to me to the earlier one.
It's a lovely face sculpt. So it is when you got the visor up.
But they are both really nice figures. The War Machine, again, they've gone crazy with the articulation. They've gone back to the butt button. So you press the button on the back of the pelvis and the legs drop down. It works much smoother this here than it did with even the Iron Patriot.
Right.
And wasn't it the MK42 where they kind of skipped the button and you just pushed on the butt, the whole plastic butt? I didn't like that as much. They've gone back to the button. It works a lot smoother. Yeah. The torso, actually, there's 2 clicks that it pops up, so you can get even more of a turn in the upper body compared to the pelvis. The shoulders, of course, again, all the armor pops up and out of the way, so you can get higher arms poses and just. On these armored figures, Hot Toys continues to tweak the execution, and it really shows. Now, they also continue to tweak the freaking price.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that research and development
Iron
doesn't come cheap.
Yeah, wasn't Iron Patriot around like 280 or
Iron
something
Patriot
around
was
that?
expensive, man. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
expensive.
he was around 280. Now this War Machine, this MK War Machine, which is really Iron Patriot with a different paint job. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, I mean, they have improved the articulation, but as far as the armor look, it's very similar armor.
Yeah.
It is Avengers, right? Age of Ultron. So if you're going to do the Age of Ultron stuff, you really kind of need this one if you want to be a perfectionist about your Ultron display. But he's 340. And then the Whiplash is 400. So you can see that, they're really raising the price on these as well. Over a short period of time, the diecast ones, it's only been a few months since we got the first diecast figure, right? Wasn't it back in September or so?
Yep, it was. It was around this time, yeah.
And it's gone from like the first one was around 260 to now 340 over just a few months. So yeah, they really.
I wonder why that
I don't know
is.
if they're. I don't know what's going on there, but boy, it's going to be.
Yeah, I do think looking at the Whiplash figure that there has been a lot of engineering, research, and development gone into, as you were saying, the minutia of some of the kind of like details on that, and obviously we're paying for it not only from the fact that they've done the work on the sculpting, the research and development, the engineering, but also the manufacturing, the fact that all those little tiny parts have got to be put together. So I think that is what's kind of reflected in it. But it does seem like a very steep jump all of a sudden. You can kind of see where some of that price is coming from, but I think it seems to be masking a steeper jump than it needs to be.
I mean, why would it be more
Well, and it's
expensive than Iron
interesting-
Patriot? You're getting the same stuff.
The
Why-
War
why-
Machine, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why the War Machine is that much more expensive than Iron Patriot over such a short period of time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on
Because you are
those two.
getting pretty much exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
And you're getting
yeah.
the exact same. You're getting that extra head sculpt and everything. That's very strange. I'd be curious.
I must admit, I know there seem to be revisiting kind of films that were popular, because like I was quite surprised when they went to do Whiplash 2, because for me, I quite like Iron Man 2. It's not my favourite of the lot, but it was I really like the Monaco racetrack scene where he puts the Mark 5 suit on.
Yep.
And I love that
Four.
scene. Mark 4. That's it. the Mark 4.
Five,
Comes out-
five, five.
It was 5, yeah. Comes out of the briefcase. So I love that. So I was kind of quite happy with that representation. But I'd have actually really liked them to have done some hammer drones more than Whiplash. Because I really like the look of the hammer drones. I love the fact they're all kind of like US military. There was like the Army one, the Navy one, and the Air Force one. And I'd have really liked to have seen them do some of those. But maybe they will. I mean, the fact if Whiplash does well and they're still interested in it, they might revisit it. But yeah, they were the ones I was kind of hoping for.
Well, they did those little Iron Man drones from. They're doing those Iron Man drones from Age of
Yeah.
Ultron. So
Yeah, they're doing those ones, but yeah, no sign of the
hammer
hammer
drones were
drones.
cool because you had the Marine one, the
Yeah.
air, the military or the
Yeah.
what's the one infantry. They had all these different
Yeah.
kinds of ones, which were all.
And they had those
very-
massive rocket launchers on the shoulders, the military one.
Yeah, they were kind of cool. So that would have been cool for kind of like if you want to do like your beat up kind of cool scenes, kind of like the Chitauri, they'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool fodder kind of thing. So it's odd that they've gone for the Age of Ultron drone type Iron Man ones and they haven't gone for these. But there you go. That's that's Iron Man. That's War Machine Mark II. So
Yeah.
if you were to recommend, so we have War Machine. I mean, I still love the first War Machine from Iron Man 2. I still have that figure, and I really like that figure. I think it's a really nice because it's really nice and big and bulky. The Iron Machine Mark II is a far slicker affair, and it's very nice. But I just think I like the bulky tank vibe of the.
Well, and
the
it's
Mark
got the
1.
Gatling gun.
Yeah,
Which was cool.
Which is
Yeah.
it's just like, and again that the head sculpt in that is pretty good. So it's still a really good looking figure in my opinion to have, the first. But if you were to get, if you are a kind of a Don Cheadle War Machine type fan, if you were to get one of either Iron Patriot, War Machine Mark 1, 2, or 3, 2,
No,
2,
3. 1,
3,
2, and Iron Patriot.
2.1 or whatever, 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
If you were to get one, which one do you think you'd recommend? To
I
first to
still
get?
like the Iron Patriot the best. It's just
Yeah.
that
Color.
color scheme. It's
Yeah.
just is so cool on the shelf.
He does. I love the Iron Patriot, and I think if I was getting the roadie, I'd be getting the Iron Patriot. I would recommend people get the
Yeah.
Iron Patriot. All right, okay. So there you go. That's our little recommendation.
Now,
So
the
we
only,
all-
like I said, if you are going to be a big Age of Ultron completist perfectionist,
you gotta
then
get
this is the
one.
War Machine to get. Yeah.
Okay, you got it. This War Machine then. You get it. You're just a loser. Okay, right. We'll go on to. All right, we're gonna change from Hot Toys now, and we're gonna switch over to ACI Toys. And we're going to review ACI's Aragorn, which is a bit of a bittersweet one for me, but I'll explain later. But actually, I'll take over Aragorn, shall I?
Yeah, you take this one.
I'll take over Aragorn as I did the packaging for it. Yay! And the illustration.
And a fine job you did.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks. I try. But it was just nice doing a little illustration on the inside. They didn't ask for that, but I said, I'll go do it. It took me a day, so I didn't mind too much. I really like this Aragorn figure. Straight out of the box, it will annoy you. That is just a warning for everyone. Straight out of the box, this will annoy you because the hair is a little on the thick side, and you will have to futz. You could argue that you shouldn't have to futz with a figure of this price. I would agree with that argument, and considering Hot Toys have gotten kind of good hair out of the box that you don't have to do much futzing with with their Black Widows and stuff, you can kind of see. However, saying that, this is a very nice figure. The clothes on it are brilliant, and if you do get the hair right with a little bit of patience, go on YouTube. There are dudes who have actually done some nice jobs on sorting out the hair. There's a few cool little techniques you can use, so go on YouTube. There's a lot of good dudes on there that will show you how to actually get the hair in a good way with a minimal of fuss. There's a pretty good elastic band method, for instance. Go check it out. And with this Aragorn, all his weapons are, well, as you do with a lot of ACI stuff, all the weapons are steel, which I have. There are pluses and minuses for having it as a steel. He comes with his lovely dagger. He comes with, which has lovely engravings on it. His Andrúdal, his big lovely king sword, does not have the runes in it, sadly. But if you look at the way it's made, it might be difficult because it's got a little concave in the middle of the blade, for sticking into dudes, so you can pull them out easily. So that's not on there, but it's lovely. The accessories with him are lovely. You get a nice bit of flame. You get a satchels with him. You get, as I said, you get the quiver and the bow and arrow and stuff like that. You get his lovely cloak that you can put over. You can put over his hood and everything like that. He comes with his pipe. You can give him his pipe if you want. He can sit in the corner looking all mean and moody and stuff. It comes with a kind of a nice stone base, which is a little bit cheap because it's a bit light on plastic, but it looks nice. It's a very iconic figure. The colouring, the textures, the outfit is what really sets us above. To me, this is very close to Hot Toys level on the materials. The face sculpt is good, but it could be marginally a little bit better. It's got an odd kind of bump on the forehead, which is a little bit bothersome if it catches the light a certain way. But the expression is nice, and again he's nice and posable. You can get him. His ankles are a bit limited because he's got those stiff boots. So for argument's sake, that would be like a markdown. Because like on Hot Toys, as we know, they do a nice job with some of the rubber boots where they weaken the plastic at the ankle of the rubber boot, like on some of the figures, and you can bend them quite easily. That could have been nice, but there are methods for articulating. Just drop your Aragorn and just put him feet first into some hot water for a while, and then you can bend the ankles and do that. Again, you shouldn't have to do that, but it's there if you want it. I personally didn't need to have to because I was able to get Aragorn into kind of all the kinds of poses that I did want. You can get a sword nice in front of the face to get that cool pose. He's great. As you know, I love the Aragorn character. I've always loved the Lord of the Rings movies, and I just think ACI have really done a nice job on this figure. Mm-hmm. Some people have really been bothered by the hair. Some people I feel have been overtly bothered by the hair, and they're kind of throwing this, I should have to do this. And I know, but look, you kind of just have to deal and just. There are methods to get that hair that are easy to look right. It can be done. You can either tuck it down inside the hair if you like. I took a little bit. I've got long hair, so I've got a little bit of an idea of how to kind of cut hair a little bit. So I cut his hair a little bit on mine. But again, there are methods on YouTube. Go to YouTube, look them up. I think he's an awesome figure. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, you're right about the hair. I mean, you can futz it around a bit. Once you start cutting, like that's when I start thinking,
I wouldn't recommend cutting.
Right, I don't really want to do stuff like I shouldn't have to do that to my figure.
No.
If I have to start cutting or going, now I'm starting to actually customize my own figure. But you can futz the hair around and get it better looking. It'll look better from certain angles than it will from others. I thought that the biggest problem is it is a little long and it is very thick.
It is thick.
So
yeah, that is the
getting
problem.
some product in there to try to get it to flatten out a bit is one of the bigger pluses. If you can do that, then you can get it looking a little better. The head, the face, like you said, the forehead's a little much. It's more of a 5 or a 6 head, and while Vigo does have a bit of a head,
yeah,
In real life, he does. I mean, that's a feature. It isn't as wrinkly as this one is either. If you notice, they kind of overemphasize some of the wrinkles in the forehead, which is throws it off, I think, a little bit. I think it's a good likeness. It's just that there's some of the details like that I think throws it off a bit. Now, from the neck down, I completely agree that this is Hot Toys quality stuff here. That outfit, the feel of that material, it's so thin yet so high quality. The weathering, I was extremely impressed by the weathering on this material. They did a really nice job, and the accessories were all really high quality as well. Even though they're metal, they're not as heavy as some of the metal accessories, which can be a real downer. If you can't hold the sword up, it's kind of a moot point. But here he can wield the weapons. They look good. I think it's a really nice figure. Really, really well done. Now, you're right. There's some other frustrations too, not just the hair, some of the buckles, getting some of the outfit to lay just right and look just perfect. There was a few things like the quiver and stuff that were a little annoying. Yeah. But overall, the quality of the accessories and the outfit on this figure, to me, really make the figure.
I just thought the whole thing was just a lovely figure. I was really, really, really delighted. And as we know, we got with the Azmus have released their one. And
Azmus has theirs coming out, right? I've seen pre-prod stuff, but I haven't seen actual production. Have they started shipping theirs yet?
Well, I've just seen some production pics, but I don't think they've actually started shipping theirs yet. I don't think that.
Yeah, because I think I've got one on pre-order, because I wanted to be able to compare the two.
Yeah, we'll be very curious to compare the two. I'm completely thrown off by the monkey ass for a chin. That really bothers me. No, seriously, I mean, he's got this? It looks like a monkey ass for a chin. It does. It's like it's this big pale butt chin thing. It's weird. I don't like it at all. The sculpted hair is good. I dare say if ACI had kind of gone maybe the sculpted hair route, they probably would have had more approvals. I think the hair really put off some people, and I think
it's interesting that I think that hair on male figures is so much harder than on female too. I think
it's a strange thing, isn't it? But
isn't it strange?
But it's funny how
it's sort of like if you look at the Black Widows.
Yeah.
The hair there looks fantastic, but as soon as you start getting that on a male figure, I think that there's still something, and I don't know if it's a Ken doll thing. You know what I mean? Because there's a whole group of people out there that as soon as, even when they see Black Widow, it looks like Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's automatically it's got fake hair. It's got it's not sculpted hair. It's therefore a Barbie. Which isn't true. I mean, you look at Black Widow, it's nothing like what a Barbie looks like in terms of rooted hair. And I wonder if some of that's the same with the male figures, that we're not quite used to seeing male figures with rooted hair yet. And we tend to think of that as being more of a toyish thing still.
Yeah. Well,
so that might be part of it as well.
But also, it took Hot Toys, a few attempts to kind of get it right themselves. And you think back to when they did that first one from Spirit, and they did Scarlett Johansson as... I can't even remember what the name of the character was. But the hair on that was decidedly more doll-like. They'd made a good crack at it. And then I think the first time they really got it right was with Baby Doll. I think that was when they'd really kind of
Baby Doll was good. They worked with Baby Doll.
Yeah, they cracked it then. And I think the first Black Widow was dodgy. You needed a bit of product. You needed to futz with that a lot more than the second two.
If you just compare the three Black Widows, you can tell the progression.
Oh, hugely. I think they are one of the perfect kind of catalysts for seeing just exactly how much they've improved over a very short period. Because they really do kind of stand out as those jumps in quality of the paintwork and also how they cope with the hair.
Yeah, well, right in front of me, I have another ACI figure with male hair. This is the second figure I have. This is the only we say male real hair on male figures, but Aragorn is the first male figure I've ever gotten with real hair. Do any of you guys have male figures with real hair?
Do you know? I'm just trying to think.
We don't.
I'm trying to think of any others.
We don't. Aragorn is the first, I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing we ever had before that was the fuzz heads of the 70s, the Joes that had
I know what that is.
Had flocked hair.
In front of me here, I have the ACI Thracian General, and he has a real hair. But they've actually seemed to gone to town on this one, and they've it looks like they've made this one after Aragorn, but they've actually put product in the hair of this one.
Yeah.
And it's a swept back look. It's all flattened down, and it kind of curls out underneath the helmet. You take it off, he looks like Aphex Twin. for some odd reason. I don't think anyone knows Aphex Twin, but if everyone remembers the Aphex Twin music video where they got a big long limousine and these dudes pull up in the limousine in the car, he looks like one of those dudes, but he got the helmet off a little bit because it just looks a little odd. But the face sculpt is very good. But onto the hair, yeah, they've put product on this here, so I'm wondering why they put product on the Thracian general and didn't put it on Aragorn, where it kind of was a bit more fitting to style Aragorn's hair. But while we're on the Thracian, I'll just give him a quick review. This is a great figure. So this is kind of the Thracian general. He's a bit based on Spartacus, the TV show from Starz, on like the first few episodes before he gets captured by the Romans. So this is kind of the look you're kind of getting there, and it's a superb figure. I really like this figure. I mean, you put the helmet on him. You put the helmet on him and it's great because the hair kind of comes out from underneath the helmet and it has that very realistic feel. He's also got an amazing screaming expression. His tongue is like going, wow! It's really expressive. So it's a really expressive figure. You take the helmet off and he does look like Aphex Twin, so that will bother you. Well, it bothered me anyway. But he put that helmet on and it's great. And he's a fine figure. The materials again are ACI are using are up another notch. He's got little leather codpiece. His cape is excellently done. Like there's weathering and it's worn down and it's grinded down cape. It's a stunning figure. If you like your Spartans and your kind of Thracians and kind of Greeky kind of cool stuff like that, even though this is it's kind of more Roman in Roman times, I cannot recommend this figure enough. He is the best out of that kind of grouping. He's of the kind of historical figures so far. I think he's the best. I've gotten quite a few of the ACI ones now from sending me comps and whatnot. But and it's nice being able to compare all these historical figures. But this is the finest historical figure so far, in my opinion. This Thracian general is great. The shield is awesome. He's bold. He just looks great. The weapons are in steel. The sword is beautiful. He comes with a spear. Do not put that spear on display. Because you move that spear wrong, you are losing an eyeball. Because it's a steel pole with a steel point, and seriously, man, that figure falls. You could impale the cat, and it's just you don't want to be impaling the cat with an action figure. That's just kind of wrong. And it's just.
Well, that's for when your toys come to life and attack you.
Exactly.
This will give them something to actually do some damage.
Like, oh, flipping goddamn impale me in the middle of the night. He's a great figure, and what's lovely about this Thracian general is what the ACI have stopped with this. Like this figure is like cool straight out the box. There's no assembly required with this guy. Put his helmet on, he's ready to go. You know the way with if anyone got the Roman legionary, you had to put those sandals on, and how much fun that was. Not well. This one has the sandals already on him, and it's a great figure. I cannot recommend the Thracian general. He's a lovely figure. And I'm very excited for ACI. I'm excited to be working with ACI, of course. I'm going to pimp them now. Now I'm really excited to be working with them. I do think they're really climbing the ranks, and they have some exciting new product on the way. I'll tell you that now. But I really like this one. This one also has got a slightly new body as well. There's no ab crunch anymore, and I think it's better for it. Because the swivel on the actual hips is good enough as it is, or just below the belly button is good enough as it is. The ab crunch was a bit unnecessary on the ACI bodies, and for those of you kind of found it kind of got a bit floppy as well, the ab crunch, and it didn't kind of sit on the lower abs as well as it would like to. So I think this is a vast improvement. It's got new biceps, new arms. It all in all looks like a whole new body here, and I really like it. Really like it. So I hope you guys will be getting one of these. Will you guys be getting any of these ACI historical figures?
No plans to at the moment. I've got a few historical figures, but I don't tend to kind of re-specialise in those guys.
Okay.
I have a lot of historical figures, but I haven't been picking them up in the last 2-3 years.
Well, I strongly recommend at least one of the Thracian general. And what's the packaging I've just done for them now? Oh yes, the Crusader. They've got a Crusader coming out for now. I've just done the packaging for that one. So it's a Knights Templar Crusader, and they got 3 versions of that coming out. It's like a black, a white one, and a kind of a slightly kind of sandy brown one. And they're very nice too. As offensive as those Crusaders were, they're still cool looking. They're still very cool looking. Historically offensive anyway. If you kind of know your history and what they did and things. And at least that's my opinion. All right. There you go. That's Thracian general. So we should probably get on to, and of course, let's not forget ACI also released the ring wraith as well. I also have the ring wraith. It's a great ring wraith. If you're on the fence about which ring wraith to get, the Azmus or the ACI one, get the ACI one. It's awesome. The armor is brilliant. The hood is great. The weathering on the thingy is brilliant. Minimal futzing involved with the ring wraith. It depends. I got a couple of samples and I did compare the hoods. The hoods do vary on figure to figure. The hoods do slightly vary because obviously it's hand cut and whatnot, but you can get the ring wraith looking boss, and he comes with the lovely weapons and stuff like that as well, and his just the weightiness to them is very good. Lovely figure. So again, a Lord of the Rings ACI figures. I'm so sorry they lost the license, because we're now going to go on to Azmus's figure, which is going to be the what's her name, Eowyn. So let us give a quick review of Eowyn, and then we're going to slip into Ned Stark, Sirius Black. So, Eowyn,
quick
Mike,
review of
take it away
Eowyn.
there.
She sucks. Sorry, she's a disappointment. So the rooted hair here isn't her biggest problem. I mean, it's not the greatest in the world. It's certainly not Black Widow Hot Toys quality, but it's not Barbie doll quality either. It's a step up from that. But it is extremely waxen, in terms of a blonde color. It is very, very blonde, something that I don't ever remember the character being in the movie whatsoever. So that kind of throws you off. The head sculpt is okay. It's okay. It's reasonable. I wouldn't. I can recognize her, but it is more doll-like than what we expect in 6 scale these days. From the neck down, we've got an outfit that is not the same quality that we just, like what we just talked about with Aragorn. The material feels kind of cheap. The accessories are not as high a quality. Overall, it's just not the kind of figure we expect, especially at these kind of price points. I mean, Azmus is starting to charge a fairly good chunk of change for these figures, and they are not at the same quality of like an ACI at this point.
That's a lot of hair she has, man. She didn't have that.
She actually had a lot in the movie though too. It was long. I mean, remember
I suppose it was kind of long. Yeah.
It was quite long in the movie. It's just when it's up under, and I do like her better in the helmet. You put the helmet on and cover that hair and have face up.
Yeah, I love
and
the
she
character.
Can look a lot better. The problem is that in hand you start to realize that the quality of the materials, it looks okay in a photo, but the quality of the materials is not there the way it is, with like ACI.
Yeah, well, you get that nice broken shield though with her.
You do get the broken shield, which is kind of made from a sort of a rubbery plastic.
Really?
It does look
even a hard plastic.
Well, it is hard, but what I noticed is that because it's a softer plastic, it tends to be bowing a bit. One of them tends to be, a little bowed. It doesn't quite fit. The two halves don't quite fit together perfectly.
I always loved Eowyn's sword too. Her sword. I remember like when they did all those Lord of the Rings like replica swords and stuff like that. And I was either going to get King Theoden's one or Eowyn's one. I just love the horse motif. It's just really nice and Celtic, and of course I would love that kind of thing. And I think design-wise, I think she's a lovely looking design-wise figure from a distance. Probably if you had the helmet on her and you had her in the cabinet with the other Lord of the Rings figures, she might look kind of cool to kind of bolster your collection a little bit. But it's just like even your pictures here, Mike. I'm just not feeling this at all. She's
just not at the same level.
No, she's not. And I mean, what other Azmus figures have you gotten before? I don't have any Azmus figures. What have you gotten any?
Well, the ring wraith in the picture there is an Azmus ring wraith, and then you've got the orcs, right? You've got the
that's right. The whatever his name, Azog or whatever his name was.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. They did.
Yeah, right, okay. And you quite like
which were good. I mean, the one had kind of red pajamas on, but they're decent, but they're not great. And then there was the horse, which I was disappointed in. So overall, I've not been hugely happy with the Azmus work on the Lord of the Rings.
Isn't that odd then that the kind of, well, frankly, the better company just didn't get to keep the license, and Azmus obviously they worked in a better deal or something.
I'm not sure what happened.
We can only speculate. I mean, obviously, I can't really ask SCI myself on that one. They were just heartbroken. I can tell you that now. They were heartbroken because we were getting to work in Gimli and Legolas. Literally, I was going to be starting on Legolas, and it's just like, and they had a lovely head sculpt and all for Legolas, and it was like, it was looking really good.
Now, I will say, have you seen the photos of Azmus Saruman?
No.
Or Sauron, rather?
Saruman. That doesn't look too bad.
No, it doesn't. And again, we got the rooted hair on Saruman that actually looks pretty good.
Maybe it'll work on him.
I mean, the beard's sculpted, the hair's rooted, but it's super long and super straight, so they don't have this problem with trying to be, needing it to be kind of. I think part of the problem with Aragorn is that the hair needs to be kind of messed up to look right.
It does. It really does.
You've got he has messy hair. So with the next release is going to be nice and long and straight and not require a whole lot of futzing to get that look.
Well, to be watched, to be noted. We'll have a little. It'll be very interesting when you get the Aragorn. Then we'll do a proper compare and contrast. And
yeah, we'll compare the two.
We'll pull no punches on those ones. Okay, let's get on to let's put some Ned Stark. 838. Is it 3-0? Watch. I get very confused.
3-0.
3-0.
Yep.
This is
this is
Game
Ned
of
Stark.
Thrones.
This is Game of Thrones. Yep, this one came out about a month ago. This is their second release after Tyrion. There was a lot of concern about this figure early on with the head sculpt. People thought the portrait was terrible in the early pre-production photos. One of the things I like about 3-0 is that they do pay a lot of attention and they do tweak things a lot. You know, their Jon Snow, which will be the third in this release, just went up for pre-order a month ago, maybe.
Yeah, I'm totally getting that figure.
And shortly after that went up for pre-order, the exclusive is the wolf, the dire wolf, which is dire wolf Ghost, is his dire wolf, and that was the exclusive. Well, people right away were saying, that he's way too small. The wolf, it looks like regular wolf size. It doesn't look like Ghost size, and that's what 3-0 jumped in. Eyes of the wolf. They said, yeah, we realize you're right, and I think they did that with the Ned Stark head sculpt as well. They tweaked it quite a bit, and they were able to do a lot of nice tweaking to really get this to a much better place. The head sculpt really does look, I think, a lot like Ned Stark. Now, I will admit the hair sculpt is a little soft. It's not the same quality we've seen in terms of the hair with, I think, like Hot Toys. It could use a little more work there. That's the one area that I think.
Paint or sculpt? You mean paint or sculpt?
The sculpt on the hair, I think it's a little soft. I think it's a little. It could be a little finer detailing in the stranding, and but otherwise, I think the head sculpt is really, really well done. And again, like we were just talking about with Aragorn and ACI, the outfit and the accessories are fantastic. The quality of the material, the quality of the swords, the weathering. Again, the weathering on this figure is just outstanding and amazing. It's just a great looking outfit, and the outfit is easy to work with. Taking the cape on and off is easy to do. There's no problems there. The whole figure just really is outstanding. So it's really good news too, because 3-0 is doing this stuff at a really low price point.
They are
compared to everybody else, right? We're still sub $200, and they're doing quality that is well above that expectation.
Well, I opted out in this one. I'm totally all over Jon Snow, just because Jon Snow's a badass in the most recent episodes, and I'm like all over that. So I'm totally going to, well, although that finale kind of, well, we'll see. But I'm all over Jon Snow, and I'm very excited that 3-0 are delving into like TV licenses and things like that. I think it's a very exciting time there to see where things are going to go. I mean, the face sculpt you can see on Ned Stark is an improvement over the original prototype pics that we did see. I mean, it had some resemblance to the actor and Ned Stark himself, but some of the photographs you have here on your website here, Mike, you really get that kind of Ned Stark feel from him, and it looks like those ankles are pretty poseable in those kinds of boots.
Yeah, the boots are quite soft at the ankle.
They look nice.
It's a big plus. Now they are a plastic boot, but I think the sculpt and paint are fantastic on them.
Yeah,
there's no reason to make them leather if you can make the plastic look that way, and I can get the figure for less than $200.
Exactly. I'm happy if it looks good. I don't care what the materials are kind of made of. If it looks good.
Well, and sometimes they try to use a real material to match, and it doesn't look good.
No,
right? It looks out of scale. Yeah. So I would prefer it to look good than to be the exact same material in real life.
They must have crazy sewing machines, because the little pattern, the kind of undergarment that he wears, that kind of padded undergarment that he wears, my God.
Yeah, that sort of quilted look.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. What's the fur on the shoulders like?
The which one?
The fur on the shoulders that he's got. Oh,
the fur. Yeah, it's like a fake fur. It's obviously a wolf. I mean, what else would you expect it to be? That is the house cycle.
Cool. So, well, that's Ned Stark. So, would you recommend Ned Stark then?
Absolutely.
How are you liking the look of Ned there, Jeff? Do you like him?
I think he looks really cool. I mean, as I say, funny enough, I'm one of the few people on the planet that hasn't been following the series. I have got a couple of box sets that I need to catch up on, and I think I will sort of delve back into it. But just looking at the figures, I think they do look really nice. As you say, the head sculpts are not quite that last kind of leap to kind of like Hot Toy standard, but they are bloody good, and the outfitting and everything is very high quality. So yeah, if I was in the market, I think this is definitely one I'd be on for.
I'm all over the Johnson figure, and I just think it's really exciting that 3-0 are able to get these figures for less than $200. This is brilliant. It can be done. And I'll tell you, if 3-0 continue along this line, I think they could really, really, really start doing some damage in the market. Because I think people do have a price cut-off point. It is very hard to justify going over the 200 bar mark for a toy. It's just very hard. And if you do want to get like your one-off collectible kind of thing, it is a bit of like, a guilty conscience sets in. So if 3A can kind of keep their figures at this kind of price point, they're onto a winner. And look at the quality of them. How is it that 3A are able to get this quality on a figure like this, and yet Azmus are not?
But it's funny, it's like, I mean, obviously, the thing here is they are paying for a license, so that really has to be taken into account as a big thing. But when you look at, I mean, you're thinking back to when those art toy figures came out, I'm specifically thinking about the what was it, Heavy Armoured Cop, as we were meant to call him. I mean, obviously, there's no license there, so it's kind of apples and oranges, you shouldn't really go there. But the quality of that and the price of that was incredible. You were paying, it was only just over $100, wasn't it? It was 120, something like that.
Cheap, man.
And he was amazing. So it was kind of like, it's obviously the license and paying all your dues, which I highly recommend and I think is the way to go, is right. But it just goes to show you that the quality of these things, when just can be up there with the right people.
I mean, and now we're going to look at the Star Ace Sirius Black, right? And Star Ace is doing the same thing. They're really producing a great set of toys at a price that's way below what we're starting to become, to think of as the norm, and they're doing it at a quality that is really outstanding. It is. So I think companies like ACI, 3-0, Star Ace, they're going to have an effect on the market over this next year, especially because Hot Toys is going to be so focused on Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
They really will. So we're on to Star Ace. Hey, Star Ace Toys. Again, another of my clients. I've just started working with Star Ace Toys myself on some packaging. So look for me on some Steve McQueen's, yo. I don't know if you guys will ever get that Steve McQueen figure.
I'd like it. I have to.
Well, I already have the first one, so I probably won't get the next one. But
right. Well, this one's but this is super deluxe, Mike. Comes with his whole German outfit and everything. He can change outfits. Mm-hmm. So he comes with his regular baseball, and he comes with his baseball and mitt as well. And did the first one come with his baseball and mitt?
Yep.
It did? Okay, cool. Well, there you go. Star Ace Toys, very excited to be working on them. So let's review Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Sirius Black, or Gary Oldman, as we like to know him as. So take it away then, Mike.
Yeah.
How is Gary Oldman?
He's again, Star Ace is doing this in an under $200 range. They're doing a really nice job. The costume is extremely high quality. The accessories are great. One of the problems that I had with Voldemort was, he comes with his wand, of course, and then also that sort of blue crackly flame to come off the end of his wand. Mm-hmm. With Voldemort, the wand was so thin that you were really looking at potential wilt problems, that if you try to display him over time. The advantage to Sirius here is he has a much thicker wand, and it seems like they've lightened up the lightning bolt as well, so it fits on really well, and you can easily pose him with it for a longer period of time without fear of damage, and it looks great. The head sculpt is clearly Gary Oldman. It's again not quite at that Hot Toys quality yet in terms of the skin, but it's very, very close. I think we're starting to split hairs, literally, when we look at these sculpts now and compare them in terms of the detailing and the skin tone and the texture. People are catching up to Hot Toys.
They are.
Including on the paint, which is not going to, at some point, it's no longer going to be that competitive advantage that they have had for quite some time over these other companies. I will say that the Star Ace body, the neck bugs me. You can't. I noticed this with Steve McQueen. I didn't have nearly as much trouble with the Voldemort, but here I couldn't tip his head back as far as I wanted to. It seems to be restricted somewhat by the shape of the torso and the way the neck post inserts into the torso. Right. So that's a minor nit. But otherwise, this is the next one they've got that they've shown is Moody, and he looks fantastic.
Really?
With the mechanical leg, with the mechanical eye, he just looks great.
The Brendan Gleeson character. I don't know Harry Potter, so that's
the guy. Yeah,
okay.
I wonder if is he going to have a movable eye? Are they going to give him a little?
The eye rolls around. He has
Cool.
the fake, the sort of mechanical looking leg under the pants.
Yeah.
I like the look of this figure. I think the quality looks really good. I mean, look at the belt buckle and his little chain and his watch and stuff like that. His waistcoat.
They really do have an exceptional level of quality, especially considering the price point. Again, we're seeing companies do stuff for beloved licenses. Harry Potter cannot possibly be a cheap license, and yet do it at a price point that people are going to be more able to afford.
And the other thing that's been mooted around for years, and I don't know whether it's true or not, it's one of those fanboy things, is that supposedly Gary Oldman is very precious about having his likeness used on anything. So it was quite a coup, apparently, for them to even get him on board to allow this to happen. So
he must have liked it.
Yeah, he must have liked it. And I think any of the actors that have been involved with Harry Potter series now are kind of like, it's become such a kind of a beloved thing, as you were saying, Mike, that it's kind of like, I think when people get kind of tetchy about being associated with guns and weapons and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of actors are a bit precious about that, I think this is one of those places where he's just like, no, let it go, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice and typical.
Well, one of the other things I think is interesting about how Star Ace is handling this line is we just saw, Hot Toys does about 1 billion different Iron Men, right? And they sometimes do things that are not super different. It's not like they've gone and completely resculpted the armor or done something extreme, and yet you're paying the exact same price for the second version. One of the things Star Ace is doing is they've got a second Harry and Ron that they've listed now, which are the casual versions. So it's the same Harry and Ron figure that they released a few months ago, but now they're in the clothes we saw at the end of the first movie when they're battling at the end, and they're not their school uniforms, but rather more casual clothes.
Yeah.
However, instead of, I forget what was Harry and Ron, they were like $150 or $160 or something when they first came out. Instead of charging you the exact same amount for these are only $100.
That's cool.
That's great.
So you're getting the benefit of the fact that they're reusing those head sculpts and those bodies. They're passing that on to you.
Yeah.
And that is a big deal to me. I think that's a tremendous thing for the company to do. So I have high hopes for Star Ace. I do. I think they have some real potential. Them and 3-0 are companies that we really should be keeping a close eye on.
Cool. I think these are very quality figures. It looks like a quality figure to me. I don't have a Star Ace in hand. I'll obviously get a few comps of the Steve McQueen figure, so I'll be very curious to see about that one. The quality like, but I mean, to me, this is fine quality. The Star Ace quality it's a fine quality. Yeah, maybe not quite Hot Toys, but you are, like you said, it's much of a muchness if you're kind of getting thingy. I mean. You do look at some of the way Hot Toys did. Every time a new figure comes out from Hot Toys, it's just a little bit one up again. Even the new Thor head sculpt it's nice, but it's like it's more refined again than the last one. It's just the techniques are getting a bit better. But as they're getting better, these other secondary companies are getting better. And I think it's exciting times. We keep saying that's exciting times. So there you go. That's the review of Sirius Black there from Harry Potter. Okay, now we're going to give an honourable mention to a statue because it's our friend Trevor Grove who helped sculpt this. I believe it was both Trevor Grove and Tweeterhead who has been working on this. So but I would imagine it's Trevor's face sculpt, particularly on this.
I'm pretty sure Trevor did the whole thing.
Trevor did the whole thing. Oh, right.
I think so. I think he talked about this when we had that interview with him.
Right.
Back
Okay. Well,
a few months ago.
Go back 3 episodes, kids. I think it's on episode 19. I believe is our interview with Trevor Grove. Yes, 19. Episode 19. So go back to episode 19. We got an interview with Trevor Grove, who is a badass sculptor. I would argue one of the finest on the planet, to be honest. He's very good. And this Catwoman figure our statue looks great. And this is the
now these are 6 scale.
Right.
So if you're a 1966 Batman fan and disappointed that Hot Toys didn't give you anything other than Batman and Robin, this is your next best bet. You're going to be paying close to the same amount of money. The statues are about $250, I think, at initial retail.
Yep.
But they are beautiful. The Catwoman is the only one that's I have in hand so far. Batman, the Adam West Batman, just started to ship, and Robin should be any day.
Yep.
And they just announced the Batgirl, the Yvonne Craig Batgirl, and put her up for pre-order a few days ago.
Yes, she looks
now,
amazing.
One of the nice things they do with these, and she's gorgeous.
Oh,
just
dude,
beautiful
Yvonne
statue.
Craig, I just fell in love with her literally 6 months ago when I saw her in that Search and Gift. So I was like, who is she? She was amazingly hot.
Yeah, and the statue is just a well-designed, dynamic pose. It's just really great.
Yeah.
And the one of the cool things they're doing with these is for the 250 you get one of the regular releases. Now they're not super limited, but they are relatively limited, 1,000, 1,200, something like that, I think, somewhere in those numbers. But they do a 300 limited edition that includes a signed certificate of authenticity. So it's signed by, for example, Yvonne Craig or Adam West.
That's really nice.
And that's only an extra, it's like $280. It's an extra $30, something like that, to get the signed version. And they did a cool thing with the Batman and Robin where if you ordered both of those, they made sure your edition number matched between the two.
Nice.
They were producing them relatively close to each other.
That's caring attention.
So yeah, Tweeterhead is. I've talked to them about this. They have a lot of plans for this line. They really want to go pretty deep. Obviously Joker, Penguin, Riddler are obvious additions, but they want to get a lot deeper than that to the eggheads and characters that other companies haven't really touched.
King Tut? I remember King Tut.
Yeah, like a King Tut, for example. Those B and C listers. And so Tweeterhead is hoping, if they can keep this rolling, to be able to get that deep.
Good. I mean, we obviously don't review normally statues on this thing, but occasionally, if it's really exceptional and someone that we know has worked on it, we'll give it a shot. And it's a lovely looking statue. It's a great likeness to Julie Newmar too, the Catwoman as well. And I think, could you in theory place her behind your Batman and Robin Hot Toys figures?
Well, there's a photo in my review of Batman with her. She's a little big, but again, it kind of depends on where you put her in comparison to those two.
Yeah.
Because she was a leggy girl.
She does.
She wasn't short.
Nope. Look at all Julie Newmar. Fine build of a lass she was. Okay then, that's that. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just under 2 minutes. Europe listeners, look no further than Space. Space, search for popular action figures and collectibles ends. The best service possible and steady accessibility by email and telephone is one of the top priorities at Space. They carry a wide range of collectibles, not only from major brands like Sideshow, Hot Toys, Enterbay, NECA and McFarlane, but they also specialise in the exotic and small new manufacturers. A very important department to them is their 1/6 scale section, which is currently getting bigger and bigger, offering lots of clothes, bodies, head sculpts and accessories. Hot Toys is of course one of their specialities, so you can pre-order all newly announced figures from their web store. They often have Hot Toys figures in stock earlier than any other dealers. They are also the best source in Europe for convention exclusives. Space loves what they do, so you can depend on them for secure packaging, ensuring your items reaches you in mint condition. In-stock items get processed normally the same day. Pre-ordering customers will be notified in advance once an item arrives in stock and before it gets shipped. Space is located in Germany and offers clearly arranged shipping flat rates to all European countries. On most destinations you can even get free shipping. For EU customers this of course means that you will not be surprised by any customs fees or import taxes. Space is serving us collectors with the finest items for over 15 years. If you're located anywhere in Europe, do go to Space. www.space-figures.com. And we're back. And of course, San Diego Comic-Con is only a few weeks away, so we better start. Let's discuss what we'd like to see in San Diego Comic-Con. Who's going first? Sadly, I'm not going this year. San Diego Comic-Con is going to be rubbish because I'm not there. But Mike will be there, so he'll be representing. So what are you?
I'll be there.
What are you looking forward to, Jeff and Mike? Then, Jeff, what are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, do you know what? I think something I'm quite excited about seeing is I'm wondering if, because obviously we've seen the sequel, episode 7 trailer, and I know they've shown some of the costumes at various kind of events already. I wonder if we're going to get a couple of tasters of episode 7 figures. I think that might be
cool. That'd be cool. Get your one raises. Is she cool?
Yeah, I'm thinking we might see some Stormies, and we might even see some of the other characters. So. I wonder if part of the reason they were working, we got Han and Chewie out, didn't we? And I wonder if we're going to see the old Han and Chewie as well, because they've worked on it, they've got them ready. So I'm thinking, I don't know. That's one of the things I'm quite excited about. Are we going to get a few little insider looks at some of the character outfits for episode 7?
Well, I think they're going to be hot in the heels of Star Wars. Actually, Hasbro. Yeah. Hasbro's this year's San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. One of their exclusives, they always rock the exclusives. Hasbro, is the new Stormtrooper from on the Black Series. We don't discuss kind of smaller figures in the Black Series, except for the 4 Horsemen, who will be coming on imminently. By the way, I did get a bunch of Gothiotropolis Ravens. They're amazing. We hope to get them on soon. So, folks, they will come on. It is just a case of timing. They're up to their nuts, obviously, in whatchamacallit, in trying to get stuff ready for San Diego Comic-Con, and these guys work very hard, very laborious hours. If they're coming on, they will actually be working on the show while we talk to them. On another podcast I used to be on, which will remain nameless, Eric Treadaway was on there, and he's there chipping away while he's talking to us. So the Four Horsemen, they have confirmed they are coming on. It is just a case of when. So bear with us, they are coming on. And obviously, we'll have hopefully Star Race and ACI coming on some stage as well. So, listeners, I would actually suggest that you have a little considering and thinking about what kind of questions you'd like us to ask, say, Four Horsemen in particular. Star Race, we'll get come on. That might be a bit of a different one because, again, there's obviously language barriers when it comes to these Chinese companies. So ACI and Star Race, start preparing some questions for us. Email them in.
3-0 too.
Yeah, and 3-0 as well. So we hopefully can work to get these people on here at some stages. It's just a timing thing, guys. It's very difficult. We're all very busy, and these companies are even busier. So it's just they are coming on. It's just a case of when and how. But if you want to ask questions for any of these companies at all, 3-0. Do you think we can get 3-0, Mike?
Absolutely. Cody Fultz, yeah, we can get him on here.
Okay, we can get Cody on. We can definitely field our questions to Star Race. Paul at Star Race is a nice lad, and we can definitely hopefully talk to Brian Lowe from ACI Toys as well. And we should get
PCS in here too for the high-end statues, those quarter-scale statues you were talking about.
Absolutely. But I think we'll wait for a little bit more product from them. I've already discussed to Jerry about that, but we're going to wait till they have a little bit more product. I think he wants to wait a little bit longer. I think till he actually has some actual figures, because obviously they got the Sons of Anarchy figures coming as well. But
yep.
We're going to be getting in some crazy cool guests, kids. So hold tight in your horses. So back to San Diego Comic-Con. And we're hoping. So you were saying that you hopefully will see some actual. Maybe we'll see actually some hard copies of Han and Chewie, and actually see the final product of Chewie. That'd be good.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'd assume we see him since he's been making the rounds at the Asian shows for the last couple of months.
Has he? Cool. I'm so excited for those, so I can't wait. But what else are we looking forward to seeing from Hot Toys then, or even any of the 1/6 guys from Sideshow? Or at San Diego Comic-Con. What else are we looking forward to, do you think?
Other than Hot Toys, I would assume we're going to see, like you said, Star Wars, especially the Stormtrooper, right? Since we already all seen the design and we already know what's out there, and Hasbro's already doing the toy, you'd think that Hot Toys would show off their version of that. I don't know how much else we'll get from the new movie. There might still be a bit of an embargo on that stuff. Yeah. It's hard to say. But I do think we might see some more interesting stuff from like Ant-Man as well. Yeah. Like maybe a Yellow Jacket, since we see him in the previews. You'd assume Hot Toys would be all over that, a light up figure of Yellow Jacket. What else?
Aliens?
I can think of it.
Will we actually see some aliens stuff?
I'd like to see what Mondo News is doing. Remember, they started showing off 6-scale figures last San Diego.
They did the Iron Giant.
Yeah, they had the Iron Giant, and they had the Alfred Hitchcock. Remember, they had the Alfred Hitchcock figure that we haven't seen produced yet. So I'm going to talk to them about, what's the holdup, what's the plan there. 3-0 on Walking Dead. We have not seen jack from them on that license. Well, they're doing a great job with Game of Thrones. They've let that license slide, and yet we've seen, photos of the desk, of the guy working on it, and we've seen some stuff in the background that is clearly more Walking Dead product, but we just haven't seen them show anything off. So that's another one I'd like to see something at Comic-Con.
We'll see a Rick and a Daryl, I bet you, at San Diego.
I would certainly hope so.
We'll definitely see a Rick and a Daryl, and a Michonne at least. I mean, they'll be the three ones to get going, because we've seen the back of Rick's head sculpt, haven't we? We've seen stuff on the, when they has scatter a bunch of stuff on the table.
Yep.
And kind of what's that? And the fanboys, they know what they're doing when they do stuff like that, don't they? Little put out, let's just sneak this picture on. People can just go nuts in speculation. So, I mean, I'd like to see some Colonial Marines from Aliens. I would like to see a Hicks or a Hudson.
That would be nice.
And I would like at least some sort of confirmation date on when the hell we're getting Ripley's.
Yeah, I mean, having seen those previews of Ripley, I'm very excited to see when that's actually happening, because it seemed to just go very quiet again.
It's an approval thing, because it always says pending license or approval. Maybe it's just a nightmare trying to get Sigourney to sign off.
Well, it's funny. It's like I said earlier about that whole thing with Gary Oldman and certain things. I know Sigourney Weaver did get very funny about the whole gun thing.
Yeah.
She went on record as saying that, but then I don't know, perhaps she's relaxed a little bit. So I know that, having obviously been talking about going back and going back to the Alien franchise, maybe she's reevaluated it, and that's why it's all happening.
Because I'm there, like, I decided this weekend to, as I got Marty, I got all my Hot Toys 80s figures out. I got my Terminator 1, I got my Robocop, I got my Superman, I got my Bespin Luke, I got them all out, and it was like, where's my Ripley? I need my Ripley. That's the only one I'm missing now. I need a Ripley and a Deckard from Blade Runner. That's what I want. Yeah. And I've got my 80s. I mean, I would like a Lilu Milani from Fifth Element. That would be sweet. I would like that too. But if we could just get a Deckard and Ripley, I mean, we've got a seriously great iconic 80s collection going on there. So there you go. And we're coming to the end of our show now, kids, and we're actually going to try and just squeeze in one listener email. We do get a few, and we just try to dip in there from time to time. This one actually has already kind of been answered, but this is from Jim Morgan, and he's recently discovered our podcast. He's enjoyed listening to it, and we love discussing all things high-end collectibles and G.I. Joes and all that. He's asking us, do we have any idea on the production numbers on other figures to try to get a sense of how limited they are? I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, we've no idea the kind of quantities, and manufacturers do not. I mean, my God, manufacturers do not like to give out quantities, do they? Like that. No. So that's. I mean, Mike, could you hazard a guess?
Yeah, no, we don't. It's really tough with the 6-scale market right now because they've all been very tight with it over the last 5 or 6 years. It got, back in the day, companies were a little looser with production numbers, and you also got a little more of that limited edition thing, right? You would actually get numbers, at least in terms of a company like Sideshow, and occasionally they would do a limited edition and how many they were producing. But nowadays, they're just, if you think about it though, I mean, I would have a hard time believing that Hot Toys is producing most of these figures in the beyond 10 or 15,000 range. If they were, they should all be driving Maseratis. If you think about the margins they must be making on an individual figure.
Yeah.
Which is...
Right, doggy.
Not mine.
Is that your one, Mike?
No, that was mine. Decided to bark at the moon here. So yeah, they've been really tight on that for the last few years, but they just can't be making that many. I mean, some people think in terms of, oh my God, they must be making tens of thousands, but stuff you buy at a mass market store, they don't make tens of thousands of anymore. No. Like there are lines that you'll go and buy at Walmart, and they're not making tens of thousands of them. So the idea that they're making tens of thousands of a $300 figure is probably not accurate.
So what are we guessing then? What, between 10 and 15,000, that kind of a way?
I would think that would be really high.
That's an educated
guess. I think some of them you could be down in the kind of 3,000s.
I think so.
Possibly
like
less.
Marty, I'd be surprised if he's more than 3,000 or 4,000.
Right. Okay. Well, Jim also goes on to ask us. He wonders how long it would take to produce a figure from start to finish. Just how long. I mean, I don't know if we actually asked Brent Bridges from Sideshow Collectibles that actually. For anyone,
I think it depends on the company too.
Yeah. And it depends on its approval. I mean, here we are. We just discussed, Ripley, and we've seen Ripley at San Diego Comic-Con last year, looking great, and you'd think that would have been out by now, but it isn't. So who knows? But I guess maybe just from an actual making point of view. And obviously, Jim is also asking as well about what parts are automated. I mean, how much of the figure is an automated manufacturing process, and how much of it is handmade. I mean, I would imagine the vast majority of these things, I would say, like bodies, machine. All bodies would be
entire body's machine made. Yeah.
But I would say the head probably goes through about 10 different painters with very specific instructions on where they are in the roll. Apply base color, you're onto the next shade, you're onto the eye color, you're onto the undercoat of the hair, you're onto this, you're onto that, and it's just boom, 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 boom. I would imagine.
And all the costuming, while it's all machine made, all that assembly is done by hand.
Yeah. And some of the painting, I mean, we've seen those kind of like little metal rigs they kind of make up for painting eyes and stuff that kind of fit directly over the sculpt. And I'm sure that a lot of that is used, but as you say, Eamon, it's mostly a kind of a by hand process. Even though it's slightly mechanized, it's still very much hands on.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys see the actual manufacturing process involved, it's pretty nuts. My friends over at Boss Fight Studios, they make kind of smaller 3.5-inch figures. They're really nice guys at Boss Fight. They had a little video of it's just a process. Even just making a small figure, just to make like a full-bodied, small little 3.5-inch figure, it's this massive machine the size of a flippin' refrigerator. It's huge device with metal things and
Yeah.
it's a pretty heavy process when you actually think of it. So, that's, let's see what else Jim has got to say to us. Yeah, there we go. Lastly, it would be interesting to hear your guys' advice on new collectors just starting in the hobby. What figures to buy, how to decide what to buy, how to display, and where to buy. I think I would tell them to come up with a budget for what they can spend over the course of the years. Well, these kind of answering your questions, therefore. I think if you are new to this hobby, my opinion is, if I was ever to strip back, it would be one iconic figure for your favorite property. You just like if you're a Terminator fan, you might want to get the DX Terminator 2 with the pole and the smashed up face. And that's kind of all you need to represent the Terminator. If you wanted that, if you prefer the original Terminator, go for it. You've got choices there, and I think the same would go for a lot of other things. Pick your franchises. If you're going to pick either you like your 80s franchises or you only want sci-fi, you only want fantasy, whatever it is, make sure that it is restrict yourself to that. And I find that's the best way to do it, because I've had to restrict myself. I'm only doing 1/6 and Masters of the Universe Classics, with the exceptional dipping into the Four Horsemen stuff, because that stuff is just off the chain. And I love the Star Wars Black Series. I haven't gone near them. I really love Sideshow Collectibles Raynor, and I'm like, I shouldn't get it. He doesn't fall into anything that I have. I don't even know the game Star Series. So that would be my advice. What would be your advice, guys, on starting out new collecting?
Well, from my perspective, I just think it's very simple. It's buy it because you love it and you want it, and it's kind of like that should be your main criteria. And don't buy it as an investment, because as Michael has said many times on his website, stocks and shares is the way to go. Learn how to do that. Just buy it because you love it. Buy it because you want to display it. Buy it because you want it in your house, and that's it really. And I think if you are going to kind of like pick some up and you are playing and thinking, oh, I really want to collect these because I think they're going to be becoming worth something, it's a very dodgy game. As we were saying about the number. Mm-hmm. Some of the numbers these things are made in, like, for example, Tonto, that we were talking about, that film kind of tanked, and I think everybody would have actually liked a Lone Ranger to come out to stand with him, but that's almost certainly never going to happen. So how many of those did they make? 2,000, 2,500? Who knows?
And it's like they have the Tomorrowland license, and I'm like, what? Yeah. You got the Tomorrowland license? And that movie, really annoyed me, the way that Tomorrowland completely tanked. No one said anything. John Carter really tanks. Everyone's like, ha, it tanked. He's like, I hate that kind of. It's like John. Everyone knows I love John Carter. But yeah, what are Hot Toys doing with the Land of Tomorrowland license? I mean, what?
I didn't see the movie, so I can't imagine.
No, same here. But it's like also with the Spider-Man 2 film, and they've done Electro, which has come out now as well. And it was a film that didn't do as well as everybody expected. Now, obviously, we know that they're going to be reimagining Spider-Man all over again and kind of like inserting it better into the Marvel universe. And it's kind of like figures like that. I can't imagine that was made in huge numbers. So it's one of those things that further down the line could be worth a lot of money, or it could be worth absolute jack nothing. It's just down to how these things kind of become cult afterwards, or whether they become desirable. But it's a mug's game if you're doing it for investment.
Yeah, buy what you like Jeff said.
Yeah.
Buy what you like.
That's really key, and open it up. Nothing drives me crazier. We've gotten to this point where there's no reason why you can't open that package up, except for there are anal retentive people out there who think, oh my God, the piece of tape was cut, it's no longer worth anything. That's not true. The box, there's no reason to damage the box. It's not like a figure you buy at Walmart and you have to tear the package apart to get to it. You can pop that bad boy back in that box anytime you want to, if you have to store it or put it away, or if for some reason you have to sell it. So get it out and enjoy it. These figures, the reason you're buying figures and not statues is because these figures are at their heart a toy, and you really need to enjoy them. You need to get them out, pose them, repose them, find a way to display them. Next week you look at your display and you think, it would really look great if I moved them around this way. That's when you're really going to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
Beautiful words, Mike. Beautiful words. That's exactly what I would recommend. Enjoy your figures. I don't like. In fairness, the companies are getting quite good though at making boxes that you can resealable. Even like
absolutely,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, even like even like the Star Wars Black series you were talking about, right?
Collector friendly, man.
You cut a piece of tape, you pop it out, you got your figure. You don't have to damage anything. I keep them in the box right now because I don't have any place to put them. So I take them out, I review them, I pop them back in the box. It looks the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there are exceptions to that rule. I mean, on a totally different note, I got the Master Universe Giant figures, And those things are on a card back, which is just like the vintage card back. And they were so, you know, Star Wars did the giant figures, and you could easily take those figures out.
Right.
You know, the Master Universe ones, they do the giant figures with twist waist action and everything. So go get them; they're bloody brilliant. But I didn't open them because they look absolutely banging in the box. They look amazing because they're giant Masters of the Universe figures with the big red blister and the big blue on the top. I've kept those in box because they look great in the box, and I would have loved for them to be resealable. But sadly, they're not.
Yeah.
They're the only things I've kept in the box. I open everything.
I never bought any of the oversized, you know, the original Star Wars 12-inch figures, the Kenner ones, and then they did the big versions. And I kind of really wished I really wished I kind of got Han and Chewie, but I would have never opened them. I would have just hung them on the wall.
I have Han and Chewie. I got those.
Yeah.
They're great. So they're really fun.
Did you open them?
No.
No. You see, I wouldn't. I have to admit, it's one of those few things where I would actually just hang it as a piece of art.
That is kind of what they were. Really, they're not really. They are more like purely display items. Well. Yeah. We are coming to the end of our show. Oh, by the way, thanks a lot, Jim Monaghan. Jim Monaghan. I thought it was Moynihan, which is an Irish name, but there you go. Thanks for that letter there, Jim. If you have any letters for us, guys, please email me, eamon@eamonart.com, or you can reach Mike at nwctoys.com. You can find me on Twitter at Eamon_, or you can find Michael Crawford on Twitter at Michael Crawford, funnily enough. And please, if you are on any of the podcasting downloading places like Stitcher or iTunes or anything like that, please leave us a review. It does help with the show. It kind of boosts up our profile, little things and stuff like that. So please do leave us a positive review or a negative review, if there even is such a thing. We were going to try and get in some like a new older figure section today, but we're actually got a hefty podcast in here, so we're nearly into an hour and a half here. So I think it's a good time to say sayonara to our listeners, and maybe we'll call it an evening, and we'll be back again in a few weeks to pleasure and tickle your ears with some action figure goodness. How'd that be? I'm going into all Stewie mode now. All right, gentlemen, would you like to bid our guests good night and farewell?
Good night and farewell.
Absolutely good night from me as well.
Good night, folks. Good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are on planet Earth, or indeed not. Bye-bye!